friends, my name is Jeanette and I want to thank you for joining me on the channel Jane Reads. So today I have a book haul for you and books I am unhauling for you. I am like working out my muscles here. This is heavy. Okay, so I have 7 books that I have brought in and 7 books that I have taken off my shelves. So let's go through the ones, let me put them down. Let's go through the ones that I am taking off my shelves first, and then I will show you the ones that I have hauled. Okay, first book is The Magnolia Palace by Fiona Davis. This is a historical fiction. It's a dual timeline told 1910 and 1919 technically, and I want to say 1960s, 70s, 60s. I'm not even like 1966. Knew I had to find it eventually. So I read this one in June. While I enjoyed parts of it, there were parts of it I did not enjoy. I did give it 4 stars because it kept me invested the whole way through. And I have to say, I did really enjoy this cover. Like, I really like this cover, but it is not a book that I'm going to reread, so I am going to pass it on. The next book is A Quilt for Christmas by Melody Carlson. This is just a short little Christmas novella. I read this one back in December. I gave it 4 stars. I did enjoy it, but it's one I'm not going to reread. And when I played my TBR game earlier this year, I drew a prompt that required me to unhaul a book. So this is the book I decided to unhaul, and I haven't done an unhaul since that playing of that game. So now it's in this video. Okay, then we've got Love Finds You in Miracle, Kentucky by Andrea Boschauer. This is a contemporary romance story. We are following the main character who comes to Kentucky, moves in with her grandmother that she never really knew. So we're following her get to know her grandmother. She is a 3rd grade teacher, I want to say. And so we follow her relationship with some of the students in her class. And I really enjoyed it. And I really enjoyed some of the disability rep that was shown and how it was treated. However, it's not a story that has stuck with me, and I'm not going to reread it. So again, I'm going to pass it on. Then we've got Irreparable Harm by Randy Singer. This is a legal fiction that really is focusing on the rights of a surrogate mother with an in vitro fertilization that has happened, and kind of the parents, or the parents, it's really one parent that is fighting to kind of terminate the pregnancy, and the surrogate is fighting to keep the pregnancy, and because of something that happened or has been discovered. And while I enjoyed the story, and it really made you think about, like, which way do you lean? Who do you side with? What are your beliefs? But there was a lot of legal and medical terms in it. I gave it 3 stars when I read it, and I don't plan on rereading it. So again, I'm going to pass it on. Okay, and the last 3 is a series that I am taking off my shelf. I did really enjoy this series when I read it, but I am not going to be supporting this author anymore, so I'm taking the books off my shelf. So I'm not going to go into detail about this. This is just my personal opinion. And those books are, it is a Saturday Night Supper Club series by Carla Lorando. So book 1 is The Saturday Night Supper Club. Book 2 is Brunch at Bittersweet Cafe, and book 3 is The Solid Grounds Coffee Company. And basically, these are contemporary romance stories, and this author has decided to begin writing under a pen name and will be including LGBT characters, and I'm just not going to be supporting this. So while she doesn't write that type of content with her Carla Lorando name, I can't promote her anymore. So those are the 7 books I am unhauling. Now, these 7 books that I have brought in to my house in the month of July. Now, I did not plan on placing another book outlet order when I had just done one in June. But then I got a notification that a book that was on my wish list was in stock. So I had to check it out, and then I found they had a bunch of others that I was also interested in stock. So I was like, okay, I will place an order. So they got me. But before I get to the book outlet order, I did buy one book off of Amazon, and that is The Story Girl by L.M. Montgomery. This is the August read for Chantel's Year of Mod, so I needed a copy to continue with that Year of Mod read along. So, The Story Girl. I don't really know a whole lot about this other than it's Sarah Stanley, who I remember from the TV show Road to Avonlea. Watched that with my parents growing up, and we all kind of really enjoyed it. So I'm interested to find out kind of how close is the story to the TV show, or how close is the TV show to the story. I don't know. That's all I really know about this book. I'll find out when I read it in August. Okay, then I don't even remember which book. Which book was the one that I got a notification of that I was like, oh, I need to add? Because really, all these books were on my wish list. So I honestly, I don't remember. But the first one here is Dark of Night by Colleen Coble. This is book 2 in the Annie Pedersen series. I have read book 1 and I really enjoyed it, or I enjoyed it enough to continue in the series. I already own book 3, so I needed book 2 to be able to continue with the series. And since I owned book 1 and book 3, I didn't want to get book 2 from the library because I would like the whole set. So this is a romantic suspense. It takes place in Rock Harbor, Michigan, from what I understand. And I'll just read you the tagline at the top. And it says, "The law is about justice, not grace. But perhaps Ranger Annie Pedersen can find a way to have both." Okay, then the next book is historical fiction. This is Midnight on the Scottish Shore by Sarah Sundin. This book just released in February of this year, and I cannot wait to read it because I am trying to read Sarah Sundin 2.0 this year. So this is one of the books I need to get read. It is a standalone. It is a World War II fiction. And it says, in a time of war, danger lurks beneath the water and in the depths of the human heart. Then we have When Tides Turn by Sarah Sundin, which is another World War II historical fiction. This is book 3 of the Waves of Freedom series. And because it is book 3, I'm not going to tell you what it's about other than, again, I will read the tagline at the top. In a time of war, sometimes battles take place in the heart. And so this is book 3. I think this might be the one, actually. I think. Because I own books 1 and book 2, and I've owned them for quite a while. But I didn't really want to start the series until I had all 3 books. So now I have all 3. So these 2 plus the 2 others. So I have 4 books left for Sarah Sundin to read this year. Okay, then another historical fiction is When Stars Light the Sky by Elizabeth Camden. This is book 2 of the Women of Midtown series. And when I read the description of this book, when it first was announced, I was like, and then I heard somebody else talk about it. I'm like, oh, I want to read that one. And I own book 1 because I had to start with book 1. So I got book 1 when it was available. And this one also just came out this year. I don't remember, January, February, early this year anyways. And basically the reason I was interested in this one is because it says it's a marriage of convenience story. So the last line says, a marriage of convenience may be the only hope of escape from the impending war. So it is another World War II story. And I've read quite a few Elizabeth Camden and really enjoyed them. So I want to read the series. Okay, Then the next two are books that I have already read, so I can just add them directly onto my shelf. And the first one is Sunrise Reef by Irene Hannon. This is book 11 of the Hope Harbor series. It came out in April, and I just loved this one. I loved the matchmaking that takes place in this one, getting to know a character that we've seen off and on throughout a few other books in the series, getting to know a new character, and then catching up with other characters that we have met in earlier books in the series. I just loved this one and was so hooked to it. I read this in 2 days. I just binged it. I loved it. Can I say I loved it enough? So this is, I don't know if this is my favorite of the series or it's tied. I have two books that are my favorite of the series. This is one of them. And that cover is just gorgeous. And did I say it's a contemporary romance? Okay, and the last book is a romantic suspense, and it is Serial Burn by Lynette Eason. This is book 3 of the Lake City Heroes series, and in this one we are following Fire Marshal Jessalyn as she investigates a possible hate crime to a church. We don't know if it's really or what. I gave this one 4 stars when I read it back in January. Again, it was just released this year in January. So those are and they're going to be upside down now. Those are the 7 books that I have purchased. As I said, I've already read 2 of them. So I'm only adding 5 unread to my shelves. And I'm really hoping, I'm really hoping to get these 3 read this year. So this one will be read in August. And I'm hoping to get these 2 Sarah Sundin books read before the end of the year. We'll see how that goal goes. And then, I could possibly read this one in August as well because it's a romantic suspense. So it would fit with the suspense readathon that I'm co-hosting in August. So maybe, I don't know. I don't know what I'm reading in August yet. So that would only leave this one as unread. Wow. That would be amazing if I could get all these books read before the end of the year. Because I know on some of my book hauls, some of those books are still sitting unread a year or more later. We'll see. So that is what I have to share with you today. If you have read any of these 5 books that I have not read yet, please tell me which one was your favorite. So they are When the Stars Light the Sky, Dark of Night, When Tides Turn, Midnight on the Scottish Shore, and The Story Girl. Which one of these 5 was your favorite if you read them, and I will try to move it up on my list. As I said, The Story Girl is already at the top of the list because it's getting read next month for sure. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video today, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.